8 meetings, 47 emails, 3 urgent requests, lunch at the desk, and the strategic proposal you plan to finish. You finally open it at 5:30 when your brain is exhausted and everyone else has gone home. You worked hard all day, you were needed all day, you were busy all day. But did anything important actually move forward? Welcome to the Busyness Trap. Welcome to Season 4 of the Cognitive Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Clint Ray, high-performance coach, speaker, and author of The Cognitive Athlete. This season is called The Performance Traps. 10 behaviors and workplace systems that look productive, responsible, or high-performing, but quietly undermine people, leadership, and results. And we're beginning with the most common, the belief that a full calendar means you are making progress. Let's dive into it. I worked with a senior leader whose calendar was packed from morning until evening. She was in every important meeting. Her team constantly asked her for input. Senior leaders included her in major decisions. Clients knew she would respond quickly. From the outside, she looked indispensable. But the work that mattered most in her role was repeatedly pushed aside. Things like developing her team, those one-on-one conversations, looking ahead, doing some strategic planning, identifying risks, improving systems, making decisions that could prevent future problems. That work did not arrive with a notification. It did not send her an urgent Teams message, and it did not appear in her calendar unless she deliberately protected time for it. So it kept losing. Her days were spent reacting. Her important work was completed at night, and recovery was fitted around whatever capacity remained. And guess what? There was usually none. The problem was not that she lacked the discipline. Her week had been designed around everyone else's access to her, rather than the value that she was there to create. But there was something else going on too. She liked being needed. Most of us do. Busyness gives us evidence that we are contributing. A full calendar tells us we are important. A fast response shows we are committed. Being invited into every conversation makes us feel valued. An empty space in the calendar can create the opposite reaction. We worry that it will look like that we're not busy enough, not involved enough, maybe not even working hard enough. So guess what? We feel it. We accept another meeting. We squeeze in another task. We respond immediately, even when an immediate response is not required. We create visible activity to justify our contribution. But visible activity and valuable contribution, they're not the same thing. In The Cognitive Athlete, I talk about the difference between production work and knowledge work. Production work is easier to see. You produce a unit, you complete a transaction, you move something from one stage to another. But much of modern work depends on judgment. You need to absorb information, recognize patterns, consider consequences, connect ideas, decide what matters. Your brain cannot always do that while more information is continuously arriving. It needs space. In military planning environments, we used a process that can be described as this: Saturate, Incubate, and Illuminate. First, you saturate. You gather intelligence, study the objective, consider the terrain, risks, constraints, and available resources. You load the mind with the problem. Then you incubate. You step away. You allow the information to settle. The brain continues processing, connecting, and testing ideas without you consciously forcing an answer. This is why some of the best ideas arrive in the shower or while walking your dog. You are no longer staring at the information, but your brain has not stopped working on it. Then comes illumination. The missing connection appears. The risks become clearer. A better course of action emerges. You return to the plan with a new insight or recognize that part of it needs to be reconsidered. That is not a waste of time. It is part of thinking. Special forces teams understand this during all their planning missions. They absorb all the available intelligence, develop an initial plan, then step away from it. That period allows a plan to incubate. When they return, they can test it again, challenge their assumptions, and improve it before execution. Yet, in many workplaces, we saturate and then keep saturating. Another meeting, another document, another message, another option, or another set of data. We consume information all day, but we create no space to assimilate it. Then we expect ourselves to make the high-quality decision between 2 meetings while checking your email. The blank space in your calendar is not necessarily unused capacity. It may be where your brain processes everything you have asked it to carry. Without that space, you may respond faster, yes, but you will not necessarily think better. There are 3 levels to this trap. At an individual level, busyness can become part of your identity. You want to be helpful. You want to prove that you are contributing. You confuse mental exhaustion with accomplishment. You finish the day tired and assume that must mean it was productive. But fatigue only proves that you've used energy. It does not prove that you've used it on the right things. The individual question is, what's something meaningful that has moved forward today? At a leadership level, the trap is reinforced by what leaders praise and role model. If quick replies receive recognition, people stay constantly available. If attending every meeting is seen as commitment, calendars expand. If late night emails are treated as dedication, people learn to display effort rather than protect performance. Leaders also demonstrate what acceptable workload looks like. If your calendar is permanently full, your team may assume there should be too. A leader cannot tell people to think strategically while filling every available hour with their operational activity. The leadership question is, am I protecting my team's capacity to think, or am I consuming it? Finally, at an organizational level, busyness becomes embedded in the operating system. Too many meetings, too many priorities, unclear decisions, duplicated reports, and projects being added without anything being stopped. The organization then calls it a capacity problem. Look, sometimes it is, but often the system is consuming more attention than the work should require. Adding more people to a poorly designed system does not necessarily create capacity. It simply creates more attendees, messages, and coordination. So the organizational question is this: what unnecessary activity does our system continually generate? Okay, great, Clint. We heard all that. Now let's put this into some action for this week. This week, use the Saturate, Incubate, and Illuminate process on one important piece of work. Step 1, saturate. Choose a decision, a problem, or piece of strategic work that genuinely matters. Gather the information you need, speak to the right people, clarify the outcome. But whatever you do, make sure you place a limit on the amount of information that you collect. At some point, more input stops improving the decision and starts creating more noise. Step number 2, incubate. Deliberately step away. Protect at least 30 minutes with no meetings, no emails, and no new inputs. Take a walk, sit with a notebook, or my favorite, do some exercise. What we're trying to do is leave the problem alone for a while. Don't force an answer. Give your brain the space to process what it has absorbed. And finally, step 3, illuminate. Return to the issue and ask the following questions. What now seems clearer? What assumption needs to be challenged? What is the actual decision? What can be removed, simplified, or acted on? Then look at your calendar for the coming week. Identify one block of time you can protect for thinking rather than activity. Whatever you do, don't label it as free. You want to give it a purpose. Name it as decision time, strategic review, planning, thinking, preparation. That language matters because unlabeled space in your calendar is usually treated as available space. And guess what? available space gets filled by other people's priorities. Okay, let's round this up. A full calendar can make you feel important. Blank space can make you feel uncomfortable. The value of a knowledge worker is not measured by how effectively they eliminate every gap in the day. It is measured by the quality of what they notice, decide, and move forward. Your brain does not only need time to receive information, it needs time to make sense of it. So do not measure your day by how much activity you have survived. Measure it by the quality of the progress you have created. The busyness trap is rarely just about having too much to do. It is often a sign that your workload, priorities, recovery, and attention are no longer working together. That is exactly what the Cognitive Athlete Scorecard is designed to help you identify. The free scorecard will show you where your current performance system may be breaking down and where to focus next. You'll find the link in the episode description below. And if this episode made you think of a colleague, a leader, or team whose calendars are always full, but whose priorities never seem to move, share it with them. Follow or subscribe to the Cognitive Athlete podcast so you don't miss episode 2, the reliability trap, when being dependable makes everyone dependent on you. I'll see you next time.